So, hello Scott and Wullie. So this interview is about Midstock,
Yes.
the festival that you set up
Yep.
2 years ago, and I have some questions for you. How did you get involved in the running of Midstock? Whose idea was it to run a family music festival?
I would say it was both of our
It was a
ideas.
joint
It was,
idea,
it was a sort of byproduct of something else that happened. We've put on shows for a long time now, but nothing as grand a scale as the Midstock Festival. It's been local events. We've done a lot of local things. Probably most have done it in this venue, but other venues as well. We've always put different types of bands on, different acts. So we also have a catering business, an outside catering business called The Scullery, which is the company that we trade under. And we were at an event catering at the Country Park. It was the Tough Mudder event, and we thought to ourselves that day, this looks like a great venue. Unfortunately, that was due to a couple of beers as well when we were actually deciding that we would get to go ahead with that. From there we sort of just grabbed a couple of bands, booked them, spoke to the Country Park, seen if it was we also tied in with something called Midfest, which we had attended as caterers as well, and we thought it would be great to tag onto that, the back end of the Midfest brand that was already created. And we started the Growing in Scotland Day. So Midstock was effectively first and foremost called Growing in Scotland. And we ran it as that name for the first year. Year two we decided to change the name because it sounded more like a farmers market event rather than a music festival, so we changed it to sort of suit Midfest and gave it a Midstock thing, so came up with a new branding and whatnot. So the idea came from effectively us catering at Tough Mudder and just having done a few music things. There was a glint of eyes, a lot of opportunities. We thought, here we go, and here we're heading into year three. So
That was actually going to be one of my questions, was why did you change the name? So you've answered that for me. And the other thing I was going to ask was what your experience was in the Scottish music scene, so you've kind of answered that as well already.
we try and cover as much
Well,
as
always
we
played
can.
in bands. You've sang and played in bars for a few years.
Okay. Okay. What bands have you been in, Wullie?
Yeah, I was in Milestone. I was the singer in Milestone for a long time. We were quite a well-known local band. Recently, after I left, they decided to get in touch with, collaborate alongside Mr. Roger Daltrey there. If I don't know if you saw it in the papers. Did you see the local band that was in the papers? Yeah, it made the papers. It made world press, not just.
It was on the news, TV,
press,
it was on the news.
Every national it made. But they were at a wedding, they were doing a wedding, and Roger Daltrey got on the stage.
He was staying in the hotel.
He was in the hotel, so just local other bands, just local bands here and there. Some of them haven't even had names; they've just been collaborations between guys. We're actually doing tomorrow with our band, in here, our new band, which is called Touching Cloth. we are the support band for the Fillers. We're a Killers tribute in here tomorrow night. It's a charity event for the Marie Curie. So it's worth a little shout if you get a little chance for a tweet. It's £7.50 at the door. get a plug in tomorrow evening if you fancy coming along. It's a great little event. But yeah, musically we've been involved for a long time. So we've done lots of shows, lots of good different mixes of bands as well. So
So, focusing more on the unsigned acts, who came up with the idea to have unsigned acts on your bill? Where did that come from?
It was just a joint thing again. It was, we wanted to put a mixture of everything, local bands, unsigned bands, just through the different eras as well, 60s, 70s, right through.
I've noticed that you've got quite a...
And it seems to have worked. I mean, a lot of people comment on how the range that we've got, but
it is eclectic to say the least.
and you find that a lot of people have went away talking about the band's lore on the bill as well, whether it be the tribute acts or the young boy bands or whatever. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, you've had some good unsigned bands on. So is the unsigned bands you have on are mostly from the local area then, or from Glasgow, like Rewind?
Yeah.
Are you going to keep it like that, or will you expand out and get from other areas of the UK?
I think what's kind of happened as we've gathered momentum, we've got in touch with more agents and more people tenting. We must have 3 or 4 bands a week easily get in contact with us for slots that we could hold 20 Midstocks, I think, you know, by the time that if we really fielded all of the bands that wanted to come along. But I suppose because we know a few people around about, such as Callum Beattie and Greg Pearson, these kind of guys.
Callum's now signed.
Callum's now signed that, you know, so we like to think that we were the forefront of him getting signed, you know, we were the
I saw Callum play it with
yeah, it was
in
fantastic.
Scotland.
He's been a friend of ours for a while. We've booked him a few times actually. So I just think because we kind of know a lot of people around about here that's been why it's. But no, we would. Well, as a scoop, we kind of did go and see a band recently. We just went and seen a band who are very up and coming, called Kelvin.
Well,
With a
I
K.
think I've heard that name, yes.
We went and seen them, and we are definitely quoting them. Maybe if it's not for this year, it certainly will be for the next couple of years. They're from Glasgow, so yeah, we're looking further afield for bands.
We'll see another one next week.
We've got to see another one next week. Yeah, we're going to see a band next week as well.
So kind of leads on to my question of how do you actually choose the bands that go on the bill, the unsigned bands that you choose? What is your sort of criteria for them?
I think they've got to kind of fit our festival. Whilst I say that, I suppose it is a mixture of things. So there's been bands, there's been the Caitlin Van Beck's coming along, who is a solo. She made the last 16 in the X Factor there. We knew about her a couple of years.
Dan approached us the first year about getting involved, but with the lineup already in place.
And it was the time to strike, you know. She's hot off the press at the moment, so good time to get her while she's got the exposure, which we can add to, can possibly help her career along that a little bit, you know, give her. If we can make 5,000 people again this year plus, then she gets a good platform. So no, there's no real format that can be of any to any. Bands, solo singers, I suppose even musicians. You know, we would if it was meeting up. Apologies.
Simon Kill on the phone.
Because you know how you're saying you're getting 3 or 4 a week approaching you, so how do you filter that down? How do you think, right, well, they're good enough?
We sit down and we do listen to them, and they'll send links to their SoundCloud or whatever it's, and we do listen to them. And friends and family as well. With what do you think of this band?
We'll go through the whole process of
or we'll go and see them.
Yeah,
we'll go and see them. But it's not just at first we were like, we would like this band or that band because it's our favourites, but it's not working like that.
No, it's not.
If you were to put your favourite kind of music on,
you've got to have a mix.
You've got to meet everybody. That audience is the demographics massive.
Yes.
It's, you know, so it's 16s to 80s sits in that crowd there. We had Mallorca Lee on, who you would have thought would have met maybe 40s band, 30s to 40s maybe. No, there was 16-year-olds and there was 2 ladies standing next to me that I know that were 60 plus. They were bouncing about just the same as the 16-year-olds. So it doesn't really matter as long as everyone's having a good time. But we try and get something sort of maybe 70s and 60s and a bit of, you know, a covers band with the fantastic flavours of the last couple of years, and they're coming again this year, so next year. So they kind of, if we've missed something out, they'll cover the rest of it, you know, that we've missed out. So.
And personally speaking, who's your own favourite unsigned acts? Because you mentioned that, you know,
that we've had.
Well, just anybody that you like.
well, there's a band we're going to see next week who I'm desperate to get.
Kind of caught on them.
They're actually got the same management as Father Son,
Oh,
who we
yeah.
had
I
this
love
year.
Father Son,
they were
it's brilliant.
fantastic.
I went to see a
Yeah.
band that supported the Cortiners earlier this year, beginning of this year, called Vigo Thieves from Glasgow, well, from Wishaw, and I thought they were fantastic. And they went off the scene for a few months, but they'd done the official song for the Scotland football team
Oh, brilliant.
for the European Championship and they played at Parkhead and they played England in the friendly earlier this year. And I thought they're destined for big things. And they've got a new album coming out and they're doing a wee mini tour at the moment. So they're playing in Edinburgh next week. So there's a half a dozen of us going in next week just to check them out, because I've raved about them. They're all over YouTube and everything like that. So I won't
check
let see
them
them. And so we could get them no problem, I think, because of the father-son connection as well. So yeah, I really like them. So they're my favourite.
So, thinking about Midstock, how easy or difficult has it been to promote Midstock, to gain an audience, to get partners in, like Fourth One and Cash for Kids, and how was it difficult to attract sponsors?
It was to
Year
start with.
one was just real hard work. It was a lot of work and a lot of stresses and strains to get to, even the event up and running was just, it was mind blowing actually. I don't know if I could do it again actually, if I know what I know now.
I think a lot of people were under the impression it wasn't going to happen, or I think they thought it was going to be like a gala day kind of
There's a
thing.
lot of disbelief
The setup that we had, it was
because we were relatively new and we maybe didn't have the sort of accreditation that that we weren't recognised on that sort of scene, so it's hard to get agents to work with you because you've got nothing to work with. So we were really lucky to get the view, and that we were just phenomenal. Signing for us, it was like signing Ronaldo, so it was just great.
and they're good to work with as
Well,
well.
good to work with in the end as well. We'd heard a few stories that they might be a bit more difficult than it was, but we got on really well with them. And I think that whole thing where the bands came away from our festival saying that had a good experience helps enormously for to get bands again.
Because word of mouth.
Word of mouth between agents is massive. If you put a foot wrong, somebody else will tell somebody else, and that's just
The word spreads.
the word does spread. No, it was. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're still getting there. We're nowhere near the finished article. That's guaranteed.
So can you tell me what's the main jobs in running a festival, and who takes responsibility? Like between you two, for example, what's your roles?
Well, we do split it actually. We split the roles. We've kind of got our comfort zones. Scott probably sources more of the bands than I do. He'll go to the agents and do the groundwork with the agents. Whereby I will make sure that the park has its licences, and we'll have all the bits that
The tedious
and
stuff.
the unglamorous stuff, and the bits, insurances, licences, event management plans, risk assessments, blah 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 blah, boring stuff.
So
But
you
yeah,
get the exciting stuff.
That's
no,
the too
I'm not so
exciting.
sure. I'm not so sure about that because
More interesting.
yeah, I deal with bits and pieces of the media. Probably Scott deals with organising bars and catering, and so
That food concession side.
concessions and things like
The
that. So
bars,
it's quite an even split, but I mean we know that's our strengths, and so that's kind of how it's worked.
So you've now had 2 successful years with Midstocks. What's your vision for the future of Midstock? Have you got any new ideas that you're bringing in next year? Like I saw the VIP tent this year.
Yeah.
You have that.
Yeah, that's going to get.
There's a lot of
thinking. Yeah,
Feedback on that was good.
It was good.
A couple of changes to happen,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
a lot of people are interested in the VIP.
Yeah.
So
It was a good addition. We added a few things this year. We added a cocktail bar. A few more concessions. We tightened up the concessions. We're going to get that even more tight next year because there was a few things like we didn't cover enough for vegans.
Gluten free. There was
were
options, but maybe not as many as there could have been.
Yeah,
But there was still
just things like that. I know that doesn't sound very rock and roll, but it's part of the festival, you know.
That's what people ask for.
Yeah, that's what they ask for. And we do look to expand. We look to add on things as we go, but we won't be overly committal because I think the first year we went, right, okay, next year we'll maybe think about camping, and we're not ready for that yet.
No.
We're just not ready for that. It's a big responsibility, massive.
So just trying to build it.
Yeah, we wonder if the one day or the festival that you can come to and go home is, you know, more manageable, especially because our location, unlike Tina Park or even say Belladrum or Wickerman, they're not necessarily near a town centre, but they're so accessible via public transport, and now we have a rail link as well. So you know, these things all help our festival. They can be a small hindrance in some ways, but we'd like to think that the town of Dalkeith has benefited, the economic benefits to our local area.
I'm sure it has.
Is, you know, whether it be trains or buses or hotels locally or chip shops or, you know, in general, we employ a lot of people in the day as well, so, you know, there is an economic benefit to this as well as a fun benefit, you know.
So sort of keeping on thinking about the future, if Midstock gets bigger, would you consider having like a second smaller stage? You know how some festivals do that?
Without a doubt.
We've spoken about that already.
Or a tent, it doesn't necessarily.
Or a tent.
You know, like some of the other festivals have got, they have a tent.
We were discussing it last night.
Yeah, which offers you a lot of options, you know, so that's something that that's probably the first road that we would go down actually, before another outside stage, so, to get the feel for being able to run another venue at the same time, you know.
Personally, I think it's a good idea in a tent. And being at, say, Tina Park, and it's got quite an intimate kind of feel to it.
Yes,
That's right.
It's quite good.
It's a good area for, just as you were saying, for putting on, say, on a Friday evening. It could lend itself to being the newcomers stage, you know. So
That's
it does that kind of thing.
This is what we're thinking. You can put a lot of local bands on and just. It's there's a lot of options.
Now, I noticed that you did a Battle of the Bands competition this year. Is that something that you'll do again? How did that go?
It was initially run through the council, not really us.
Yeah, council run it last year. We got involved this year.
Midfest.
They run it through Midfest. They were keen to do that. At what point there wasn't a lot in.
Why we don't know.
Was it all 6? Was it 6 that?
I think initially there was 8. It went down to 4. Was it 6? No, I think it was 8 or 7. I can't remember.
It was only 6 or 7.
No, there wasn't very many bands.
That's really
quite
surprising.
surprising.
The bands were good.
I was at the
ones
original
that
heat. I was at the original heats. A couple of bands that got knocked out were actually very good, but you know, it wasn't much odds on the night. So
Who actually judged it then?
There was the band who won it last year.
that was the final.
Rebel Westerns, the final. They judged it.
Right.
Along another guy who is a singer-songwriter. Can't remember his name.
Carolyn Gilmore was meant to be involved, but she pulled it, and we were both working. So, but I made it later
I
on.
wasn't able to attend that actually.
I was there later on in that. So.
That's interesting. My final question is, what would be your dream lineup at Midstock if you could have anybody?
Anybody?
I know mine's. I'm a massive Paul Weller fan, so it's
I've spoken about that as well.
Paul Weller would just be fantastic.
Well, you never know if Midstock keeps going.
You know what? He's, I think he quite likes Scotland as well, so.
We've spoken about it as a one-off event as well.
Yeah, that's something else that's a possibility as well. There's other events.
And who would you
I
ask?
don't know. 2 minutes to mention, I suppose.
If you could have anyone and they would do it,
My favourite band of all time, Simple Minds. But
that would be brilliant.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. Which is maybe next year.
Got a lot of money.
They're a lot of money. We have inquired, and it is a lot of money.
Well, you've
The
got
fee-
Fish,
the fee's
you've got
not too
Fish this
bad.
year,
Well,
that's
that's
quite
right.
a coup,
that
wasn't
was
it,
a
to
coup
get Fish?
actually.
And he approached us.
He
Wow.
called
He
us
approached
from
us.
Germany last year.
Mhm.
So that had been building up for a long time, you know. So.
This is how people talk, because it was actually Bruce Watson from Big Country. His wife was talking to Fish, and she says, "Oh, Bruce is playing in Dalkeith in the next few months," and he's like, "What do you mean?" And she says, "Oh, he's playing at a festival." And Fish is like, "No," she says, "No, because I've never heard it." And she went, "No, check it out. It's called the Texas Office of Growing in Scotland." And he contacted the council, and then got your number, and they phoned us, and I've never heard of this festival. I need to play this, and it went for there. And he wanted to get involved, obviously this year. So that's how they all talk. So it goes in your favour as well.
Well, you never know, you might get Simple Minds and Paul Weller from top.
As a joint headliner.
That would be a good one. Well, thank you for your time today,
Thank you very
and good
much.
luck
Thank
with
you.
Midstock 2016, and PRL as well, promote it as always.
Good.
Thank you very much. It's
Thank you.
appreciated. Thank you.